What's up, everybody, and welcome in to another edition of Big Men on Basketball. It is Tuesday, January 24th, 2023, and we are back and better than ever here on a Tuesday, breaking down some college hoops here on the Barstool Sportsbook. I'm your host, Jeff Nadu. You know we're here every day, Monday through Friday, bringing it down for you. And we've got Kelly in Vegas back. Kelly, what's going on? Thank you for being here on a Tuesday. I know Tuesdays are busy for you. I think we got our schedule worked out, but how you doing today? I think you broke even last night, didn't you?
Unfortunately for me, man, that Duke-Virginia Tech game started off red hot. I did, and this is not a brag because I hate when people do this. I did have my buddies text me at half. What do you think about the second half under? Okay, I mean, you can't be this far off the number, and I'm like, bet I can. Like this has been a red hot game so far. Took the second half under, so it wasn't that bad of blood. Kind of like one of those things that you were talking about, taking that in-game line. Kind of one of those, pay attention, watch the pace, things start to slow down, maybe look at a second half lane.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I think you have to be doing. I've made some good money doing that in some different sports. Easy winner with the other game. I actually took a loss with it. That was a tough loss. I got to be honest. I mean, but then again, I mean, it was pretty much a flip game the entire time. At one point, New Mexico goes up by 3, goes down by 4. It was just back and forth. Kind of irritating. There was a flagrant foul called late in the game. Free throw was missed. We maybe could have covered the game, but it is what it is. By the way, shout out to Il Padrino, Dave Portnoy, who had Virginia Tech minus 2.5. That was a nice win.
There was 2 wins last night that I was like, almost glad I didn't bet. I know it sounds weird, but like I looked at Virginia Tech. We talked about Northwestern. You know, were they rusty? Were they going to be? How we're going to see how this is going to play out? And even Nevada. I was like, oh my God! Every single one of these games, except for Baylor. We talked about Baylor. Is Kaylee going to lose 3 times? So I'm almost like not obviously happy that I left a winner off the table, but like for my mental sanity, those last like 2 minutes of all 3 of those games, and obviously Nevada, New Mexico, and double overtime, just getting obliterated and ends up getting the winner. But man, it was an exciting Monday, which is usually unheard of, I feel like.
The truth of the matter was, and I saw it pretty quickly. I mean, Nevada just couldn't string stops together. There was at one point in the second overtime where they went up by 3 with 2 minutes left and had the ball, and I figured, all right, beautiful. Let's get a bucket here, go up 5, give me 1 stop. We can maybe extend this to 7. They never did it. And that's just how it goes. I mean, you had a couple of missed free throws. Just how it goes.
Well, you know, we talked about this yesterday, and when you're going to bet the money line versus when you're going to, you know, lay the small number. And we talked about Nevada being kind of bet up at that point and maybe doing like a 2-team round robin with Virginia Tech or Northwestern or Baylor and kind of.
I looked at it, Kelly, and I said, you know, they're so good at home. You know, they're so good as a favorite. I just kind of was fine with it. That said, I mean, you look at some of the other results you mentioned, Northwestern, that ended up being a push. So you wouldn't have won either way there. Duke, they end up not covering. Virginia Tech was the right side. We talked about that. And then the other big story last night was Kansas losing again. You know, this is 3 straight games. You have to obviously view Kansas in the next game as a great spot to bet on them. But it's hard to get involved with this group right now. It's interesting, though, because you know who they play Saturday, right?
Kentucky.
Yeah, big game there. And Kentucky, they play tonight. We'll get into them. They kind of look like they're starting to figure some things out. So let's kind of get into it. I mean, your team's on the card tonight. We get a couple of Big 12 games we're going to talk about. But I want to start with this one. I'm going to give you a bet right off the gate. I'm going to play Florida State here, plus 3.5 against Miami. You know, I think you have to take with some teams, you have to start with just putting one game together and playing well, even in maybe a close loss, right? But it's been a tough year for Leonard Hamilton's team. This group has not looked good for wide parts of the season, but what I'm starting to realize about this group is they're fully healthy now. They're starting to look like a team who, as usual, is very deep, and all of a sudden they have won a couple in a row. So it was, again, just put a good game together. Played pretty well against Virginia, but then you look at the last 2 games. Beat up Notre Dame, beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. I thought those were a pretty nice win for them. Throw in the fact you look at the spot for Miami, coming off a really tough loss at Duke. Now you got a second consecutive road game against a team, Kelly. A lot of people don't know this. Do you know how many games Miami has lost in a row to Florida State?
No.
9.
Ooh. If you said just pick a number, I would have went with 6, but that's an inside joke.
Yeah, this is just a good spot. They have really played well against Miami, and I think you're getting a team that's starting to get a little hot. You know, they have this kid, Darren Green, this transfer. He's played well for them. I really just kind of like where they are. This is one of the poor problems that I've noticed with this Miami team. They cannot rebound the basketball. They are one of the worst defensive rebounding teams in America. We always generally get a pretty big Florida team. I just feel like right now they're starting to find themselves a little bit. And this is a tough spot for Miami. Throw in the fact you have to lay almost 2 buckets here on the road. I think Florida State, as usual, plays Miami very tough tonight. I think they at least get a cover. I think it's a close game. I'm going to take the home dog at FSU.
I agree with the home dog theory. Listen, my buddy Marcus, who actually might be in the chat, he's always on the spaces on Saturday. I think it was like second week of college basketball. It might have been the Troy game or one of those two. It could have even been Siena. But Florida State at that point had already lost 3 or 4 games as double-digit favorites, and then they lost another one. I mean, this team was rock bottom. Like, you did not want to touch them with a 10-foot pole. And I think you're right. They've really started to string together some nice wins in conference play, and at home, this line's almost disrespectful. Maybe Miami goes in there and they shoot lights out because we've seen them do it from time to time. But if this game is played in the 70s, like the total indicates, I think Florida State could probably spring the upset at home.
I mean, when you look at Florida State, for everything that has happened this year, they're 5-4 in conference. Okay? Because in the end, that's really all that matters at this point. They're not getting into the NCAA tournament, right? You have to try and win this conference. And again, I mean, I know that we all assume, you know, it's Duke, it's Virginia, it's those kind of teams, but Florida State, you know, it's been such a bad year. It's been such a rough year, but they're starting to put some things together. We always know they're deep. You know, they're a big group. I just feel like this is another good spot to back them against a team who, you know, is kind of dealing with some issues. And, you know, Larinaga has gotten schooled by Hamilton over the years in this matchup. So I'm going to rock with the Florida State Seminoles here at home. A lot of questions out there. We're going to get to a lot of these games. So just stick around here. Thank you for watching. David, Al, CMS, Ryan, Brandon, Kate, all you people in here, thank you for watching, as always. Big 12, Texas Christian against Oklahoma. You and I have talked Oklahoma. I have to admit, pretty stubborn with Oklahoma. I actually really like this team.
I do too.
And when you look at them, really with outside of the fact that that game against Oklahoma State, where, as we know, I mean, Oklahoma State needed like the last 7-8 minutes to actually pull away in that game. That was pretty close throughout. Oklahoma just hangs in games. It's what they do.
They do. We saw him do it in Lawrence, where they covered the big number there. We've seen him do it a few times. But, Jeff, is this a team, and this is maybe my problem with Oklahoma, they live and die by the 3. If they're hot from three-point land, they're going to win the game, and the game's going to be a high-scoring affair.
What irritates me about them is they're actually a pretty good 2-point offense. I don't know why they're so enamored with the 3.
Shooting threes?
Real quick.
It's not like obviously they're a good 3-point shooting team, but the nights that they're off, they just get obliterated. And that's basically what happened. And unfortunately, I didn't get to watch all of it. I definitely had it on my phone at the Mizzou-Arkansas game when I was sitting there pouting right after I retweeted how bad Missouri sucked that you tweeted. Good reverse jinx by you. I'll take that all day. But I was just like, I'm done paying attention to this game. And I flipped it over. A buddy of mine had given me Oklahoma State, big Oklahoma State guy. He said, this is a spot. And at first I was like, God, this is terrible. But Oklahoma got cold from 3 and Oklahoma State was able to pull away. And that's what concerns me about the Sooners.
But it was one of those outlier games. If you look at Oklahoma as a whole, they're very good at keeping games close. Okay. This number seems too low to me. Okay. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is another play I'm going to recommend. I'm taking Oklahoma. I'm going to trust them again here. And here's another thing to keep an eye on. This team is 5-2 against the spread on the road. Okay. Yep. They're a good, solid team away from home. And this is one reason I really like this game. If you can shut down Texas Christian in transition, I think you were going to have success against them. And TCU wants to get out and run. Okay. Oklahoma wants to play at a snail's pace. They want to walk the ball up the court. They're going to make you screech to a halt. I also don't think TCU is very good on defense. They may or may not have Micah Peavy tonight. Eddie Lampkin may or may not play. They have some, I think, issues from a personnel standpoint. I mean, keep in mind, Lampkin is he's their biggest player. I look at the Oklahoma State game as an outlier. All in all, Oklahoma has been in every game. They play really tough. I mean, Kelly, look at some of these scores. 62-60, 77-76 against West Virginia, 79-75 against Kansas, a win by 5 against Texas Tech, 63-60 against Iowa State, 70-69 loss to Texas. Okay, Villanova, they lost by 4. I mean, they hang in every game, essentially, they play in. To me, I'm going to grab the 5.5. I think they struggle maybe a little just with the fact that TCU is just tough and seems to crush everybody. But I think they surmise and deal with it a little bit. I'm going to take Oklahoma in a close game. I think they hang around.
So had TCU not beat up on Kansas in the fashion they just did in Allen Fieldhouse, this line would have been like 3.5. But I think because all of a sudden now we've seen them beat K-State at in Fort Worth the way that they did. Now they beat basically the team to beat in the Big 12 is always Kansas or Baylor, but that's an argument to be had. I kind of wonder if this is a flat spot. Now, Mississippi State, we've talked about several times. We know they're not a good basketball program, but going to play an SEC team out of conference in mid-January is something that teams are looking at. They do have it circled. It's still an SEC team, whether they're good or not. I kind of wonder if they don't overlook Oklahoma tonight.
And they could. I think they're kind of flying high. You know, there's been a couple of teams in this conference that are just seemingly do nothing wrong. K-State, TCU. I'll tell you right now, wouldn't surprise me if they both lose or struggle tonight in both games. I think this one, and again, I've seen a move at 1 book or 2 books down to 5. Okay. To me, this is a stone cold Oklahoma play. And again, I'm willing to back a road team because to me, this is a good road team. I like Porter Moser. I think he's a better coach than Jamie Dixon.
Yes.
And I think some of the injuries, if you don't have Peavy, that's a big loss on defense. And Lampkin, as I said, is they're big. What's he run? 6'11". So all that's concerning. Give me Oklahoma in a close game. I think they challenge, maybe win it. Appreciate that, Shuan. Thank you very much, man. I try. Let's get to the next one. Is there any Notre Dame fans in the chat? I don't believe so. Not many. They're kind of a soured program. We all know that at this point.
Oh, no.
Bowling Green, Central Michigan, I'd lean over, but I'm not betting it. No interest. Better games in the card than that tonight. The only game
this is actually a really great card.
It is. The only game in the MAC that I would look into is I've mentioned this to you before, Kelly. Every game Toledo plays goes over. Okay? I mean,
yes, it does.
They don't defend. They fucking lick. They have one of the best offenses in America. And I'll tell you right now, Eastern Michigan has been completely lost without a paddle on defense. I mean, this team has been – I'll tell you what, the body language – I've watched this team play. They have no body language. They're just running around doing whatever they want. Amani Bates couldn't give a fuck less about playing there. All he does is score. He doesn't play any defense. Him and Noah Farrakhan just run around and try to score every play. I agree with this comment right here. I think Toledo could put up 100 tonight. Their team total is 93.5.
Wow.
That's in a conference game. Okay, so keep that in mind. Let's get back to the outline here. Let's go to your favorite team, Kelly. Iowa State, K-State. K-State's your group, as we know. You know, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Iowa State is obviously a home dog here, aren't they? Why did I say 5.5?
Iowa State is a 5.5-point home favorite currently at Barstool, but I think we're going to start seeing 5s pop up here really shortly.
Yeah, wait a sec. So wait, I am right in this number. Why did I say?
You're right.
They're a home favorite.
Yes.
Let me say this before I ask you. This number makes no sense to me, but that's why I like Iowa State.
Did you see my tweet?
No, but
I said K-State's
saying the same thing.
No respect in this line. This line makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes none.
I've had a lot of people ask me if I like Iowa State tonight.
Yeah, it's the only play you make here. No, I'm not doing it because I'm done betting against K-State.
That's exactly what my point of my tweet was, Jeff. Listen, there are teams that you have to stop betting on or against. K-State right now, they may drop another one like we saw them do against Butler or TCU. Otherwise, they're winning the game outright and they're covering. One of the things with Iowa State, and the only reason why I didn't bet Iowa State has nothing to do with my fandom, has nothing to do with me not betting against K-State because I will and I have. If they can make free throws down the stretch, I think they're going to get some home cooking calls at Hilton. The problem is this team is a terrible free throw shooting team. I think this game could be 3. Iowa State makes a free throw here, free throw there. They win by 6, no problem. I don't trust them. I just don't. And that's been my issue. They've been on a roller coaster ride this year.
Here's what I would do. And I don't really ever tell anyone to do this, but here's what I think is going to happen. This is either Iowa State by double digits or K-State's going to win the
wins.
game.
Yep.
So I would play plus 200, whatever it is, plus 190. That's how I would play this game. And I think it's really your level of how much you like K-State. Right now, I think you have to have a screw loose to not like K-State. They're just a well-coached, solid team who's been on a heater. Now, this is a stone-cold spot where they're going to go there. They probably won't make any shots. Keontae Johnson probably gets hit with 2 fouls 4 minutes in, and he's sitting on the bench the whole
You love those Big 12 refs already, don't you?
Well, that's what's going to happen here.
It's what happens every game.
Iowa State will do like an 80 to 62. They'll roll here for some reason. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They won't miss anything.
Absolutely.
It'll just be one of those games. So,
well, especially if they can force K-State to turn the ball over, which is exactly what Butler did, which is exactly what TCU did. If they take K-State out of that rhythm, like you said, this is a very disciplined team. But if you can get them kind of out of their rhythm, you can force them to make mistakes. You can blow them out.
And you look at that one game where they have lost since Butler, they got crushed. It was an away game. Look, I'm not going to tell anyone they should take K-State, but if you do, I would take the money line. If I had to play this game, this is what I think as people that have done this a while, and I think the people in chat that know gambling, they know this as well. You have to bet Iowa State here, at least to me. Like the number just doesn't make sense.
I'm with you. I definitely think that Iowa State sure looks like the right side here. Again,
I'll tell you but
I will say this. Megan called the TCU game, but I believe she also liked Oklahoma State. I believe she also liked Texas Tech. A lot of people like Texas. A lot of people liked Nebraska against K-State. There were like at least 5 or 6 games off the top of my head I can think of people texting me going, come on, Kel, this has got to be the spot. This has got to be the spot. And every single time down the stretch, K-State, I will say this, it didn't work with TCU and it didn't work with Butler because, again, those teams forced them to make turnovers and they just couldn't come back. But every time K-State's been down at half, they've been an incredible second half team. They really have been. I don't remember what the halftime score was versus Texas Tech on Saturday. K-State comes out second half, just smashes. So keep an eye on it. I mean, maybe it ends up being a play for you. Your thoughts on the total? I feel like this could be like a low-scoring affair.
I think if you like Iowa State, I would lean over. If you like K-State, I'd lean under. I would go the opposites of where you think you're going to go. Here's what I would do. Like I said, you're watching this game. You like this game. You think you want to bet K-State? I would play the money line. Like I said, if I like Iowa State, I would do the little Barstool has the bar thing. Take it up to 9.5. Get some extra.
That's what I just tweeted to all your Eagles fans. Just trying to just own me in the mentions. Oh, the Eagles are going to win by 10. Okay, we'll move the stool to -9.5. Problem solved, sir. You're going to get plus money.
Yeah, these are the kind of spots you do it in, or spots like that. This is, I think, an extreme or another extreme. I would be very surprised if this game is 72-70. I just would. I think it's either going to be one extreme or K-State's going to win a game.
Yeah, I think I made the game 71-69, but again, I'm not as high on Iowa State as some people. But yes, this looks like when that line came out, I was like, wow, K-State is getting no respect. And I think they kind of like it that way. I'll be really honest with you. I think it's better. I mean, K-State's still 50-1 at the Barstool Sportsbook to win the Natty. My girlfriend, when I was at the gym earlier, she goes, Cal, can you put like $50-100 on K-State? She goes, actually, you know what? Wait till they lose. And I go, why? They're 50-1. It's not going to get any freaking better. And she goes, be quiet. They're still 50-1. Like, just people aren't giving them a ton of credit. Kind of like they didn't give TCU a ton of credit during football season. Did they have a shot to win the Natty? No. Georgia just completely demolished them.
But you still could have made money off of it.
You could have. That's what I explained to her. I said, listen, if you want to make this bet, do it because you plan on hedging mid-March, not because you want in your heart K-State to win it all. Because I don't think K-State's going to win it all. Do I think they have an Elite 8 run in their under their belt? Sure, why not? But
And that's what people have to understand. I've constantly said that for years on end, and I've had to defend myself against imbeciles that don't understand that. For instance, several years ago, I had Loyola Chicago 300-1 to win the national
wow.
title. Okay, now
With Sister Jean, those years?
it was 2 or 3 years ago. They beat Illinois, if you
Oh,
remember.
yeah.
Okay, so they were an 8 seed, I believe. Okay, now I remember when I put that ticket out, people laughed. Oh, are you stupid? Are you nuts? They ain't not going to win the national title. I said, but here's what you don't understand. They're one of the best mid-major teams in America. And if I can get them to the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, I can make a nice profit. And what I saw was when the bracket came out, I had a flip in 8-9 game, right?
Yep.
But I knew I was going to have to face a 1 seed.
Okay.
And I see the bracket come out. I see Illinois. I said, they will beat Illinois. Watch.
Brad Underwood, Illinois?
Yes.
Okay.
Then
yes. I would have agreed with you. They're going to beat Illinois. That is funny. But you know what? The other thing is, and I don't know if I can say their name on here, so I won't, but you guys can put it together. There are several outlets that you can sell your tickets on.
Yeah.
So guess what? Somebody else, after they beat Illinois, while yes, they didn't win the whole thing, Jeff could have got 2-3 times his money just right there.
Well,
if he got to the point where he didn't want to own that ticket anymore.
Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I did.
Oh, good.
I know the guy Luke that runs it.
Yeah, Luke's great. Yeah, I know all those guys. I tell people that all the time. Why would you hedge? Why do you need to go? Because this is the thing. We have I don't anymore, but Brett still owns the proxy service in Vegas, right? And we had guys coming down in a contest to 1 or 2 games. And I'm getting a phone call from one of the owners of the casino going, your guy has to hedge. We'll take the bet. And I go, I hate to break it to you, but where do most people have over $1 million at their disposal that they can bet in the next 5 hours? They don't. Mm-hmm. They don't. And that's where hedging becomes really difficult for me, because not only are you hedging because you either want to guarantee yourself profit, 2, you're either overextended on your original bet, or 3, you don't like that side or play anymore, right?
I'm going to tell you
why you should hedge.
This could be this could be a thing that I'll say that people won't understand or get, but this is, to me, this is a business that is about profit to me.
Yeah.
Not about pipe dreams and fantasies.
And home run hits. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always, I always mentioned you. I always connect it back to the rounder scene where Mike McDermott's asking Joey Knish for money to help himself out. And he says, no, I do this for real. This is my life, right? And I'm not saying I do it for real. This is my life, but I look at it as something I'm doing that's important to me. And
Jeff, I do this for real. This is my life. Yeah, I literally joked with JP Morgan Chase on Twitter the other day, one of the Barstool Finance guys. And he's like, where would you rather put your money besides all these other outlets? I'm like, gold, silver, real estate. That's where you put your actual money. Like that's how you build generational wealth. Betting futures tickets, you want to guarantee yourself money. You're not going to get filthy rich off futures tickets.
I see these people that have these, let's say these miraculous parlays where they're down to one game. I never understand the people that just sit there and play it out. Cash out. You're betting $10, you get a chance to win. So your end game is to win $60K. They're willing to give you $30K, and you don't got to sweat nothing.
At all.
$10 investment.
At all. And even if you don't hit the cash out button, let's say that you do have an extra $10K at your disposal. You don't have to hedge 50%. You don't have to hedge. You can hedge with what you want to guarantee yourself money, right? I prefer a middle. So for example, let's just say that, and I wouldn't, but let's just say so full disclosure, during football season, I bet $100 on my moneyline parlay. I've never changed it in years because they're a long shot parlay. They pay 65-1 or 44-1 or whatever, right? I have a significant amount more on the side, and then the money line by itself, the 3 money lines that are parlayed together is just like an extra, fuck yeah, you went 3-0, which happened twice 2 years ago and 0 times this year. People don't understand why I don't hedge that ticket, because I could give a fuck about the $100 bet. I've already now hit the other 2 dogs outright on the money line for a unit. I've now already hit the side for 3 units each, right? To me, I've already made enough money, and I'd rather see that ticket out. Now, we've seen coworkers, Jerry in particular. There was one I think like a month or two ago. And I was like texting him. I'm like, here's how you want to hedge. What do you want to do? And he wrote it out. It was like 13 or 14 grand. There was another one.
Did he win?
Sunday. No, neither one. He did not
Oh
win
yeah, I
either
think I
of them.
remember that. It was an
I
NFL
tried to
game.
reverse jinx and
Yeah.
help him out on Sunday night because he needed somebody to score a touchdown. I don't remember who it was. Those are things you can't hedge. You can't hedge on a guy to score a touchdown.
It's always, and again, it's always your personal preference. You know, I don't tell people, you know, how to spend their money. You know, you want to bet, you're just having a good time, whatever. But I don't. I would always cash out. I'm always, because again, it's about the end of the year number. It's how can I make extra?
Sorry,
You
that's
know,
what I was implying with Jerry is that he had the ability to hit the cash out button and did not. Right?
mhm.
One of the guys in the comments thinks Hunter said it was Barkley to score a touchdown. Well, we saw how that game was going. If that cash out button was still available after halftime, I would have taken it for sure.
Yeah, and again, I might be in the minority there, but I'm always going to look to do it. I love how we always devolved into these gambling conversations about how
Well,
we would do
I
things.
don't get
But
to have them with anybody else, so that's
yeah,
my fault.
yeah, absolutely. No, I enjoy it. I think it's important that people know this stuff too. Uh,
100%. Jeff, I really do, though. I want to say that. Like, I think part of our job, I'm not standing up here on a pulpit trying to say that I'm like some teacher or anything like that. I know from experience, I've lost money by not doing things and won money by also not doing things. And I think it's important to at least know what your options are so that you can make a decision for yourself.
yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. All right, Texas, Oklahoma State. This is another team, Oklahoma State, who seemingly always hang in games. I like this team. I bet them a few times recently. I like them a lot. Cissay's back. They're an 8.5 point dog tonight against the Texas Longhorns. Total is 135.5. Have we seen Texas put a game together yet? Because I haven't. It's been a bunch of just a lot of close games, you know, within 8, 9, 10 points. And, you know, they never seemingly get things going. We haven't seen a big blowout from them really since, you know,
No,
the
we
Chris Beard
haven't.
stuff happened. We've seen them look poor defensively. We've seen them look poor offensively. And Oklahoma State, like Oklahoma, just always hanging games. They're really good on the glass. They're good defensively. And I think the return of Cisse is important because they're not a good offensive team. And I think if you can get any extra juice on the glass, easy putbacks, easy dunks, things like that, Cisse gives you a lot and really is a help in this game. I didn't get there with this one. I leaned to Okie State, but I also like the under. I felt like this game was, you know, like a 65-58 type of game. I was hard pressed to think that we got anywhere above 130. I think last year it was like 56-46. It was an ugly game. I lean under personally in this one.
So here's what my buddy Joe, who's an Oklahoma State alum, sports better, he does several shows with me. This is what he texted me at 11:30. So I mean, it's been like 6 hours. But he said, I'm looking to wait and see what's going on with Cisse and Thompson as far as their injuries. I think points will be hard to come by tonight. I
Yeah.
cannot justify laying 8.5. I am also not going to take this 6.5, or excuse me, the 8.5 here. I honestly think the first one to 65 wins.
That was my
Lean
thought.
boys.
Yeah, that was my thought. That's an exact thought that I had here. Now, he makes a great point about Bryce Thompson. Bryce Thompson only played, I think, 10 minutes against Iowa State. Not great. But they won the game, which was huge.
They did.
I think I wouldn't worry. I think Cisse's good. I think he kind of made it clear to me that he's good to go. I mean, he played what did he do? 14 minutes. He only played 2 minutes the game before. So we'd probably see him 25 minutes tonight. And that's just going to be a normal game for him. So yeah,
You know,
I agree with Joe there. I'm right on board with that breakdown.
I almost wonder if the under is a better play.
Yeah.
Only because I kept saying on our Saturday spaces, actually for the last 2 weeks, I reiterated there's teams I'm looking to bet against. And right now, Texas is still that team until I've seen otherwise. You're absolutely right. Did they play a good game against West Virginia? Sure. I mean, good enough. This is not preseason Texas that everybody was rushing to the window to bet the national championship on. I know really several sharp guys. Obviously, the Chris Beard drama was not good and does not help anything. But I'm kind of having to wonder if maybe this Texas team didn't turn a corner there in Morgantown. Also, I do think you're right. Oklahoma State tends to give teams fits. I'm kind of wondering if maybe a team total under look here, maybe the right side. I'm going to check out the Barstool Sportsbook after the show and kind of see what we're doing. But I was really, really close to taking the 8.5.
Yeah, I mean, I could also see, why the under I like a lot. I mean, this could be 73-59, right? Where they kind of put it together and, you don't have to necessarily sit on the edge of your seat because one thing about Oklahoma State that really helps you an under here, Oklahoma State cannot score. They're a good defense. Texas is a decent offense and a great defense. So I think you see kind of, 71-61. That's kind of where I had this. I could see it. I could see it, more low, 67-60. I could see that. I like the under. That was the best play I thought to me here, but an interesting game nonetheless. What else do we have here? Well, yeah, I mean, we work for Barstool.
Hey, that's sorry, James. That's part of my job. And also, that's why I enjoy doing these shows because I got to fulfill some content needs. And if not, guess who's got stuck doing fucking TikToks? This bitch. And I suck at them and I hate them. And next thing I know, I'm down a TikTok rabbit hole for 30 minutes.
I'll tell you right now, I'm starting to understand how TikTok works. And I
please help me, please.
So I'm starting to realize that in the crime community that I'm in, I mean, I can fucking murder it on TikTok.
Yeah.
Murder it as a pun, not
figuratively. No, listen, we have several guys at Barstool that are Jack Mack kills TikTok. All he does is find some random thing that happened that nobody else is reporting, does a TikTok, and it goes fucking bonkers.
Him and I
don't get it.
We talk pretty frequently about that because he contacted me. He said, dude, that crime community, you need to start doing stuff with. And I was like, you know what? And I've done a couple where I just put a video out. I don't have 1,500 followers on it. I'm getting 20, 30, 40,000. I'm just barely even promoting.
And I'm out there doing everything in my power. And I'm getting 500 views. And I'm going, why would I do this when I can get 100,000 on Twitter? Why would I do this if I can get that many on Instagram?
This is where I think some of us are good at certain things. And we all have our things we're good at. So I used to be like that with YouTube. Where I had my own channel and I couldn't break through on YouTube. I didn't understand it at all. And then for a week or so, I just sat and studied how YouTube works. And I started getting subs. And now I'm up, over almost 31,000 subs. And I get, a good amount of views on each video. But I look at Instagram until this weekend. I never promoted that I had Instagram.
I was going to tag you the other day.
Yeah,
I don't really use Instagram. And I'm
a personal thing for me where because I only use Instagram to slide into chicks' DMs. I don't actually use it. So we all have things we're good at. And we for me, it's YouTube and podcasts and stuff. Jack Mack's good at TikTok. You're good at Instagram. We all have things we're good at,
Yeah.
So,
I'm not good at any of it. I'm really not. I always joked on social media that selfie is for low self-esteem and things like that. I'm just not good at posting thirst traps. I'm not good at just being goofy on video because I'll be honest with you. I get told this all the time. I'm not funny. I may have a little one-liner here or there, or something like a zing. I'm just not that girl. And we have so much talent at Barstool that I'm like, why would I even try to compete with them?
Right. No, I feel that way sometimes as well.
I'll just be the nerdy girl in my blue light glasses sitting here talking about gambling. That's what I do.
I remember when we did Barstool Idol.
Yeah.
I at times felt super out of place because I told them when they asked me to be in that, because they had asked me before, you should come, it'd be funny. And I was like, all right, I'll be kind of this, whatever. And I kind of thought to myself, I don't really fit here because I feel like I just am funny by nature. I don't try to be funny. I guess am sometimes, but I can't do comedy. I don't like that. And those yak guys are so intelligent.
Ridiculous in themselves.
Yeah.
They come up with is just, I'm like, how did we get here?
Right. And this is my bread and butter.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. I mean, let's be honest. I work for Barstool Sportsbook. I love Barstool Sports, but I work for Barstool Sportsbook. I was not hired for any other talent other than this.
Right. I didn't think I was either until I started the crime stuff and actually worked out. But the thing about Kelly, me and Kelly,
that's a great pivot.
Appreciate it. Me and Kelly, I think we're kind of similar in the thought of. Here's what I'll say about it, and I mean no disrespect here at all with anyone at Barstool. we are two of the people that have been doing this a long time as far as content and as far as like actually trying to put what we do to work and find some success with this, right? We kind of look at gambling a different way than I think some people do, right? We're more analytical and we look at things. Some people just do it because a mascot dies, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I think that my favorite thing about Big Cat as far as gambling, and like that's why I love Barstool Sports Advisors, because it's such a shit show. And there's they make fun of touts and they got the glasses and the turtlenecks and the props. And obviously Stu is out of his fucking mind. And I love every second of that. But I think that that's the whole funny thing about it is that if you see between the lines, like obviously they're just looking for any angle because at the end of the day, that gives them justification. Whereas me, if you guys saw my spreadsheets in my desk, and actually I'm mad that I didn't pull all my stuff off the backdrop because people are talking about your backdrop, but all of the bullshit in the notes, like look at my chicken scratch handwriting. And I take notes every show, whether it's you, money shots, whatever, because something will get brought up. Even when I did spaces with Mincy on Saturday mornings for college football, I'd write stuff down because he would say something and a little light bulb above my head would go off. And I'm like, I need to double check that.
Yeah, you have to keep track. And I think you mentioned Stu, like I think deep down, like Stu's crazy, like he has a great time and stuff, but I've talked to him many times and I have I always view Stu interestingly, kind of like you. Like I knew about Stu and I feel like I knew Stu before Barstool. So it was like, I understand that deep down, he's actually really astute and understands how the business works. He's been around it forever.
Absolutely.
So I feel like me, you, and him, like if we did a show weekly on just like a behind the scenes with like real gambling and just stories and stuff, I think it'd be really well introduced.
We just got to make sure that he and Megan don't smoke a joint before. So we're at the offices. Right. It's about 12 degrees. It's the week of the Christmas party. They're all hitting it. I'm like, you guys, we have to do a show in 15 minutes. I cannot get high and do a show. And we're in the Pick Central Yak studio. And they're both just like so blazed out of their minds. Like, so I want to tell Stu, we're going to do a show. But Stu, you got to be sober until after, or get high in the morning and then let it wear off a little bit, because they were both so high. I was rolling. I couldn't believe how many like silent pauses there were.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard Stu say before he doesn't smoke weed anymore.
Since when?
I could have sworn I heard him say that.
No, he was just talking about loading bowls the other day. I don't believe it.
Okay, maybe he's back on board. But one other game I wanted to quickly touch on. Another team that's been kind of a stubborn team to me that I backed a couple of times. I want to bring this game out just because I want to see where we go here. Kentucky, I think, has turned a corner. You got Kansas on deck. You got a kind of a sneaky spot. You got to go down to Nashville and play in a weird gym against a pretty upstart team. This is a huge game to me if I'm Calipari.
Yep.
And if I'm the fan base, this game means a lot to, I think, the season of where Kentucky's going to go. Because you have a team on Saturday that is crawling into that game. And you have an opportunity to win this game, take care of business, win by 10, and go in and really change the narrative of your season by beating Kansas on Saturday. This, though, is a concerning spot, and I've talked before, I like this Vandy team. I love Jerry Stackhouse. I think Jerry Stackhouse, I'm going to say something right now that you're going to go nuts about. I think when the rubber meets the road, if you ask me X and O coach, who do I want? It's Jerry Stackhouse in this conference. I mean that. I think he is a damn good coach. He is everything that Penny Hardaway isn't. He's a great recruiter as well, Stackhouse. He should be at a bigger school. And I'm going to tell you down the road, keep an eye on that. Maybe he goes to the NBA. I don't know. I like Jerry a lot. I think he's a great coach.
I have to laugh because I think you and I both hate Penny Hardaway about the same. That's one of those do not bet on or bet against teams for me because they frustrate the shit out of me.
He's not a good coach. He's a bad, horrific coach. He should be coaching elementary school. He's not good.
Elementary school. I mean, I don't know. Doesn't he have enough money from when he played in the NBA that he doesn't have to coach? Probably not. Yeah. That being said, as far as Coach Cal goes, that's a really interesting spot here because, like you said, situationally, they finally strung together, 3 wins, Jeff? Mm-hmm. Has it even been that many? Yes, 3 wins. Tennessee, Georgia, Texas A&M. Because prior to that, let me tell you, I follow some Kentucky fans and I'm good friends with some. They were melting down like you will not believe. We've talked about these fan bases, Alabama, Georgia, whether it's Texas football or whoever, when you have a huge USC, big fan base and tons of donor money, and you do not compete at an elite level year in and year out, people lose their minds. So this Kentucky team that is 13-6 on the season, which as a K-State fan, I would be elated. I'm very happy with K-State, but if they were just 13-6 on the season, I would be so happy. And they're ready to fire Coach Cal, freaking out, burn it all down. Well, he's got a great recruiting class coming next year. Maybe we won't burn it down just yet. Like, they've been on this roller coaster ride, and it's absolutely and utterly hilarious. But I agree with you. This is a complete and utter flat spot. The fact that this line moved to 5.5 is almost appalling. Is somebody out for Vanderbilt that I missed? No,
not that I know of.
So what's the rationale between a 3-point line move?
Well, I think, I can't answer that. That's something. It's funny. I'm just seeing this. I hate to say it, but I got another lightning game. Kentucky -6 over Vandy. I was ready to take Vandy money line. I was going to cash it before it even started because I know it's that easy. Kentucky -6.
Dave tweeted that?
Yeah, so he's back on board, Admiral. He's taking Kentucky. Right. Listen, I'll say this. I could see Kentucky just destroying Vandy on the boards and winning by 10. It's all going to be about focus tonight. That's why I didn't play it. I think I like Vandy and I'm stubborn with them, but it seems like Kentucky's figuring it out. But this is a hard spot.
I mean, they do seem like they're figuring it out, but this is not your traditional Kentucky team. Like you said, they're going to get the boards, but we also know that down the stretch, they're not going to make their free throws. And this is another team that really, frankly, has lived and died by the three all year long. If you look at some of their really ugly losses, the Alabama loss, most notably the Missouri loss, just gross. They weren't even putting up any points. I mean, that's not something historically we've seen from this Wildcats team. And now ask them to go lay 6 on the road after they've strung together some nice wins. Do you think they have Kansas circled, or now that KU's lost 3 in a row, they're just maybe not?
I'm all over the place in this game. I could see, and that's why I wouldn't bet a game like this, because I can make cases for both sides. There's been a time where I didn't think Kentucky should be laying 10, but now I feel like these numbers are a little bit better for them. But I also do like Vandy, and I really trust that because
they've only covered 3 of their last 13 games. No one wants to bet them. I don't blame them.
One thing I'll tell you, if I were Texas UT, I would look at Jerry Stackhouse. I think he is again, terrific coach.
It's really funny because there's already rumors about Jerome Tang is going to be a Longhorn next year. I'm like, everybody relax, please. This is he's going to be at K-State at least a couple of years. Granted, if he gets some really early success this year, Sweet 16, Elite 8 run, I'm sure there's going to be people knocking at the door, and K-State's going to have to ante up some more money. But from everything I've heard, he's very happy in Manhattan, and I don't know why on earth he'd want to go to Austin, because we see exactly what happens to coaches when they go to Austin. They get a big paycheck, they get fired, and then they go where?
Nowhere.
Besides Shaka Smart, who went up to Marquette and has made a pretty good name for himself up there. Other than that, it doesn't work out for these guys. It's like you go to Texas and it kills your career.
Well said. Other than that, I think it's a pretty ragged card. I mean, I'll say that. Those are kind of the thoughts I had.
There's some fun matchups, Jeff, here as far as things go. One of the games I did want to touch on, though, before we get out. Well, there's actually 3 games.
I'll throw one out quick. If I had to play a desperate spot, I'm going to continue to say it. I don't know why Arkansas lays double digits to anybody. They're not good enough. Okay, they aren't good enough on offense. LSU's gotten rolled recently.
Yes,
this has to be a get off the ground type of game. I mean, I don't. Are they this bad? I don't think they are.
I don't think they're this bad. Let me pull something up really quick. That was not one of the games I wanted to touch on because, well, again, there's these teams that have lost, 5, 6, 7 straight. Virginia Tech got their get right game last night. My concern with Arkansas is exactly what I saw in Columbia a week ago. And that is a big question mark to me. Right now, they don't have a lot of depth on the bench. They just don't. And if they get into foul trouble, it could end very badly for them. 12.5.
And they don't make shots.
They don't. How are you going to beat a team by 12.5? That's a great question. I just wrote LSU down on my long list because after the show, I want to look at it a little bit further prior to me getting to the window with them. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes I I wait. I know we always talk about, just a little another gambling side note, we always talk about getting the best of the number, right? And those overnights, if you liked Kentucky, you should have bet it last night at 2.5, right? Like, bottom line, there are certain teams you want to be betting the night before, and there are certain spots that you can wait on. And I had got a text from my buddy Adam this morning, and he was like, Kelly, look at LSU. And I said, I'll look at LSU later. I've got some stuff going on right now, because I knew no one was going to want to back LSU. That number was not going anywhere, and it was only going to go one way. And in fact, it actually hasn't even moved.
Yeah, numbers too high. I mean, listen, you look at LSU, though. I mean, they've lost by 21, 18, 40, 11, 13, all in the last 5 games. It's hard to put your money in the hands of them right now.
Yeah.
However, I also don't think Arkansas should be a 12, 13-point favorite. Sorry.
Really quickly, TD McInteruff thinks you, me, Megan making money should make a trivia team. I love Megan, and I would absolutely be on a trivia team with her, but we both have the same brain. So you got to have a trivia team. We learned with Kelly Keegs, where like she's great at pop culture. I'm great at like sports and geography, and that's really about it. And then a couple other things Jeff is good at, but me and Megan can't be on the same team. We already learned the hard way, and we basically got 86 from the dozen. I will say Sydney Wells has asked me to join a team previously. Maybe it'll be me, Jeff, and Sydney, and see if we can't make a run at it.
I'd be cool with that. Sure. By the way, someone's saying that Vandy is, quote, a solid basketball program. When? What are you talking about? So because they made the NCAA tournament a couple of times, they're solid? Jerry Stackhouse can recruit, and he's a great coach. He got Scottie Pippen's kid to go to Vanderbilt. What are you talking about? He would kill it at a bigger program. He's a good coach. Maybe it hasn't translated in a few years on a bad team, but with 1 or 2 good players.
What is this? His 4th year at Vandy. I think that's enough time to see what you've got. And you're right. Being able to recruit is 9/10 of the issue, especially Nashville's fun. I'd want to live in Nashville, actually, if I was a college kid. I could see that.
But it's not a solid basketball program, and let's be honest.
No.
It's a baseball school. People go there to play baseball.
School. Every once in a while, they surprise you on the gridiron, but just every once in a while.
Exactly. That said, another great show. Kelly in Vegas and I always have good conversations about sports betting and the cards today, each day. Kelly, when's the next Money Shots?
Next Money Shots is Thursday. You're filling in for me. Yes. Unfortunately, I have to take my dad to have just a minor surgery. He's fine, but he's not able to drive himself. So I asked for the day off. So you're going to fill in for me with Megan, Stephen Che, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific on Thursday. I think I'm doing this show again tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. And then, of course, we're going to do our Saturday Spaces. I've really enjoyed that. I've learned a lot, especially – as I mentioned, sometimes waiting to bet some of these games has worked out in my favor. And especially we know that most, this is not meant to be a dig, but we know a lot of recreational bettors bet the morning of on Saturday, right? They're getting up at 9 a.m. Eastern. They start looking at their card, and, we're bringing in either hot takes late or maybe some late breaking information as far as injuries go, things like that.
I agree. By the way, I took FSU tonight plus 3.5, and I like Oklahoma plus 5.5. Those are my 2 thoughts here on the show. I want to remind people, and I will say this, I'm going to just say it now. I need to go to New York on Friday, so I will not be here on the show Friday. Generally, it's a small card. I have to do an interview, and I have to travel home at some point. So.
Are you going to tell us who you're interviewing?
So I'm actually interviewing a guy that I've known for a while. We've corresponded. He did 18 years in federal prison, and we're really just going to talk about his life, the things that he saw. He actually was in some of the most dangerous places in this country. So he's a really interesting guy. He's had he's completely changed his life. He's very successful now, and he wrote a really interesting book. And while I'm here, I want you guys to go, seriously, if you like to read, this is one of the best books I've ever read. It is a fascinating look.
Blood on the razor wire?
Yeah, it's a fascinating look into a life of someone who got a life sentence for a nonviolent drug offense and was really thrown into the belly of the beast, and he survived. He's got a really big YouTube channel, just a great guy. So he actually is from Buffalo, so he's going to come up to the city and meet me. So
Nice.
we're going to do it in person. So as far as real quick, someone's asked me, what are your thoughts on the sushi rack woman?
Who's that?
Yeah, listen. It's a photo I posted. I was taking a photo of my sushi last night, and I got my dates cleavage, let's say.
Okay. Is this the African woman you referred to yesterday?
It was. She's great. I mean, I have no thought. She's a good chick. We have to kind of get to a certain place, her and I, but we have a nice time together. So it just happened to get in the photo. Maybe I did it on purpose. I don't know.
Of course you did it on purpose.
No, I didn't.
All of you guys, everything that you guys do is so methodical, and that's great. No, I don't think she's a cougar. I think she's
no, she's not a cougar. She's actually a little younger than I am. I think she's 28. So, but yeah, that said, that's all I have for you. Kelly, good to see you. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'll put out my card here.
Yeah, and do that. Maybe Kelly in Vegas on Twitter. Yeah.
Probably next 15, 20 minutes. I'll make sure to tweet out everything I end up betting.
Sounds good. Good to see you.
Always. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, Kelly. And thanks everybody for joining us. As always, we appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe if you're new to the channel. And check Kelly out on Money Shots. She's not there Thursday. I am, but check her out tomorrow with me here on the show. We'll see you tomorrow.